All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're starting our journey today from the very surface we walk on, and we're heading deep, literally descending into some of the most mind-bending mysteries hidden right beneath our feet. For centuries, humanity has looked up at the stars to explore the unknown, but actually, some of the most shocking discoveries and deeply held secrets are buried thousands of kilometers below us.
So here's a question for you. Is the Earth actually hollow? Now, I know it sounds a bit out there, but this is a centuries-old question that immediately challenges everything we think we know. Most of us just operate on the basic assumption that our planet is a giant solid ball of rock all the way down to a fiery core. We walk on it, we build our cities on it, and we just assume it's solid through and through. But what if the ground you're standing on right now is actually more like a shell? What if there's entirely uncharted territory down there?
Well, this idea isn't just some modern internet speculation. Way back in the 17th century, the famous astronomer Edmund Halley, the exact same guy Halley's Comet is named after, proposed a radically different model. He confidently stated, "Our Earth is hollow." He even presented numerous scientific arguments for his time to back up his theory. Now, obviously, his peers completely dismissed his evidence and laughed off the idea. But hold on to Halley's theory for a second, because as we explore some recent modern discoveries today, we're going to see that there might actually be incredible secrets hiding below that prove he was onto something profoundly huge.
Okay, moving on to Section 1, Drilling the Deepest Hole, the Kola Super Deep Borehole Project.
So, to find out what was really down there, we had to stop theorizing and, well, start digging. In the 1970s, Russian scientists decided they were going to physically drill into these subterranean mysteries. They wanted to crack open the Earth's shell and see the truth for themselves. This timeline here maps out that massive, highly ambitious project. The whole thing started in 1970 with immense optimism. The exact secrets they were hoping to uncover, those were kept strictly under wraps. But what they couldn't keep secret was the sudden, totally unexplained halt of the project. Drilling just abruptly stopped in 1992, and by 2005, the facility was entirely abandoned and the hole was permanently sealed. If everything was supposedly going perfectly, why did they suddenly pack up the whole shebang and leave?
Well, before they stopped, they reached a staggering depth of 12.2 kilometers. To put that massive number into perspective for you, this is literally the deepest man-made hole in the entire world. If you took Mount Everest and flipped it completely upside down, it wouldn't even reach the bottom. It is deeper than the Mariana Trench, the deepest natural point in our oceans. They had pushed the boundaries of human engineering further into the Earth than anyone ever had in history.
But of course then came the rumors. This quote represents a very spooky, highly circulated urban legend associated with the project's sudden shutdown. People claimed workers allegedly heard terrifying, agonizing cries echoing up from the hole, like they had drilled straight into hell itself. Now, as wildly fascinating as that myth is, the official scientific reason given for stopping the project was far more grounded, but honestly, equally insurmountable: extreme heat. The deeper they went, the hotter it got, literally melting their equipment. But that raises a fair question, right? Didn't these brilliant scientists know it was going to get hot?
Which brings us to Section 2, Inside Earth's Fiery Layers, Mapping the Descent.
All right, so to understand why the Kola project really failed, and to set the stage for this massive discovery I'm about to share with you, we need to map out the real structural layers of the Earth. Think of this as the blueprint of our planet. Step 1 is the crust. This is the solid outer layer reaching up to 40 kilometers deep. I really want you to think about this. Every single ocean, every sea, the Mariana Trench itself, all of it exists merely on this super thin first layer. Below that is the mantle, which is split into upper and lower sections, stretching down nearly 2,900 kilometers. And finally, at the very center, we have the incredibly dense inner core.
And at that very core, temperatures exceed 6,000 degrees Celsius. I mean, even in the mantle, temperatures reach up to 4,000 degrees. This hard scientific fact explains exactly why human drills like the Kola project just couldn't survive the descent. At 12.2 kilometers, they were barely scratching the surface of the crust. Yet the rising heat was already way too much for modern machinery to handle. The deeper layers remained completely 100% untouched by human hands.
So how do we know what's down there? Let's get into Section 3, the secret underground ocean, a diamond's revelation.
Since we obviously can't drill down to see what's there, we have to rely on what the Earth naturally pushes up to us. And recently, one absolutely mind-blowing scientific discovery completely redefined our understanding of the deep Earth, proving that the models we've relied on might be entirely wrong. The secret was unlocked by a diamond, but not just any diamond. During normal mining operations, a raw diamond was uncovered, And when scientists analyzed it, they discovered it had formed at an astonishing depth of 660 kilometers. If you remember our map from just a minute ago, 660 kilometers places this diamond's origin perfectly in the transition zone, literally the space that separates the Earth's upper and lower mantle.
Because of its incredible origin point, this diamond became the subject of an intense international scientific collaboration. We're talking brilliant minds from Germany, Italy, and the United States teaming up to peer inside this ancient stone. To do this without destroying it, they utilized some highly advanced non-destructive technology, specifically Raman spectroscopy and FTIR spectroscopy. Basically, they were looking for structural clues about the environment where this diamond was born, 660 kilometers underground.
And here's the crucial point. It's what they found trapped inside. They discovered a very rare mineral called ringwoodite. Now, why is this a game changer? Because scientifically, ringwoodite only ever forms in environments where there are massive, abundant amounts of water. Finding ringwoodite locked inside a diamond from the transition zone acts as hard, irrefutable proof pointing directly to a gigantic, hidden water source deep inside the Earth.
Let's just take a second to truly comprehend the scale of this. Up on the surface, we have 5 massive oceans: the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Arctic, and Southern Oceans. For literally all of human history, we believed this was the sum total of our planet's water. But the data gathered from this single deep Earth diamond suggests that the underground water source at the 660-kilometer mark contains enough volume to dwarf the surface waters. This hidden subterranean ocean likely holds more water than all 5 of our surface oceans combined. It is a completely submerged, hidden world. Absolutely wild.
Which brings us to Section 4, Myths, Reality, and Raman. Connecting science to legend.
You know, when science uncovers something this massive, it forces us to look back at history and ask, did ancient cultures somehow know about this all along? With the confirmation of a massive ocean sitting 600 kilometers below us, a wildly speculative, but let's be honest, fascinating question arises. Where there is water, is there the potential for life? This discovery is suddenly reigniting conversations around Edmund Halley's 17th century hollow Earth theory we talked about earlier. Now, while the Earth isn't an empty shell, the presence of a subterranean ocean opens up the staggering possibility of deep Earth ecosystems, or even hidden life, surviving completely isolated from the surface world.
And this scientific revelation actually connects incredibly well to ancient texts. Look at the concept of Patal Lok from Hindu mythology, for example. It's a sprawling, subterranean realm described as being located deep beneath the Earth's surface. Now, for centuries, this has been read purely as myth, right? Just a theological construct. But with modern scientists confirming an actual hidden ocean hundreds of kilometers down, the idea of Patal Lok suddenly feels a whole lot less like pure fantasy and much closer to a legendary interpretation of a hidden reality.
Before we wrap up, I want to share a fantastic bonus fact about the technology that made this entire revelation possible. The international team used Raman spectroscopy to analyze the diamond. Well, this groundbreaking technique was actually discovered way back in 1928 by Dr. Sir C.V. Raman, an incredibly brilliant Indian scientist who won the Nobel Prize for this exact work. It is just amazing to think that a scientific breakthrough from nearly a century ago is the literal key unlocking the deepest secrets of our planet today.
So, this all brings us to a pretty humbling realization. The greatest depths humanity has ever reached with our own technology is a mere 12.2 kilometers. Yet a single diamond from 660 kilometers down has completely rewritten our understanding of the planet, revealing an ocean larger than anything on the surface. It begs a deeply provocative question. If an entire subterranean ocean was hiding right beneath our feet this whole time, what other ancient myths, hidden worlds, or mind-bending realities are just waiting down there to be proven true?